Hey, so I want you two to go do what you guys do, and that is kill and talk at the meeting's house, trying to take care of nobody. What I'm going to do is talk to you guys. So, goodbye. Hey guys. So welcome to the very first Madness Man TV movie. There have been a total of 12 Madness Man movies. This is going to be the 13th. And this is going to be the first TV movie. Well, what I'm going to do today is actually get into the entire history of Madness Man. How he was born, how the legend began, what happened the night he escaped, to the very first movie, to the 25th anniversary, to the series that you guys watch and love today. I had the man do this, so I'm going to do this myself because Madness Man doesn't talk, so I'm just going to do it for him. So it all started in 1984. In 1984, his parents did not care about him at all. Not a single bit. Which is sad. And he was put into a psychiatric center, but as you and I all know, psychiatric center is just a fancy name for asylum. So he was put there, and for 6 long years, he waited. He waited just for some day that he could do his plan that he had as soon as he got in, that is escape. Well, he started from day one. He was treated by Doc, not the Doc that was killed in Man 6, but another Doc, basically. And he is in, actually, the Madness Man series right now. That is the same Doc from all these years before, in 1984, excuse me. And so for 8 years, my bad. In 8 years, he was treating him, and Madness, as soon as he got in, he never spoke. He wrote, he did art, and he was 12 years old. He was 10 years old when he got put into the asylum. He was 18 when he escaped. So it was basically 4 stages, basically. Those first 2 years, he never smoked, he never did anything. Next 2 years, he started to feel more comfortable around around Doc. And Madness started writing to him. Any type of question, he would actually start writing. The next 2 years, he was drawing, writing, sending notes back and forth, and it was like this connection that he would have, because Doc was a very good doctor. And then the last 2 years, everything changed. Madness from day one had the same plan as soon as that first week that he got in at 10 years old. And that was to kill any amount of people he could to escape. So one night, it was the night before he would escape, he gave a note to Doc, and obviously Doc thought what everybody else would think, and that is, okay, he's giving me a message about something. But this note was very different. This one was a threat. and a promise at the same time. The note read, "I'm going to escape tomorrow. I only plan on killing a few people. If you let me escape, I will not kill more than the people that I plan on killing. But if you don't let me escape, I'm going to kill every single doctor and patient, and I'll escape that way." So Doc was in. He's going to lose people either way. So Doc does the same thing that I would. And that is the first one. He would just let him escape, kill a few people. Now what Doc didn't know was that doctors were also included. Patients in an asylum, they don't care about patients at all. But Doc did. He cared about every single patient that he looked after. He wasn't the head doctor, but he was close enough to be treating a lot of people. So the next day comes. He gave the note back and said that, "I'm going with option 1. So Madness nodded. At around 8 p.m., he got up, killed the 2 nurses, which Doc did not know that. He ended up killing 8 patients, 2 nurses, and 1 doctor, so 13 people. And 8 nurses. It was 8 nurses, 4 nurses, and 1 doctor. And when Doc saw all the stuff, he looked at Madness. Madness looked at him. He nodded, smiled, and ran. That was in 1992. For the next 25 years, no one heard of Madness after that. No one heard a single thing from Madness. The asylum was shut down immediately, because there's no way you could come back from that. And he basically, that whole asylum was torn down, and it was turned into the neighborhood where Nick, Doc, and everybody used to live until they obviously moved up to the mansion. Well, Doc, even though no one heard of Madness after that, Doc went to another hospital for about a few years, but it was never the same after that. He just quit, and he left the city, actually, but he always kept tabs on this neighborhood. Whether it was stationing a camera or something like that at some places in the neighborhood, so that he could just keep an eye, so that if there's anything weird going on, he would immediately come. Well, that day came, and it was 2017. So fast forward all the way up to 2017. By 2017, there was an urban legend made about Madness and all that stuff. Well, in 2017, 25th anniversary, and this was Madness Man 1. That's what this is set in, because Horrifying Nights, Indiana is a very real city, but I lived up north. I lived up pretty far away from Horrifying Nights, Indiana, and I lived in Indiana, but I always heard things about Horrifying Nights, and obviously the Man's always intrigued me the most, and they had the most information on them, so I decided to make it into a series. So this is what the Madness Man 1 is based off of. So basically one night, this group of people are talking about the urban legend of Madness. And Madness Man strikes, but no one knew in the town that it was actually Madness. They just thought it was like the Man or Shadow or something like that. Well, at that time, it was just basically the Man. So a few months later, not Nick, but 8 people go in. They live in there, a bunch of Because basically this neighborhood was eventually turned into a neighborhood where students could actually rent out the houses, because there's a campus nearby, not very close, but nearby. And they could just rent it out and then go. A bunch of my friends do that. If I was living near the campus, I would do that too. So they did that. And this became kind of what it was for a long time. It's 2017. He strikes for the first time in 25 years. No one knows if he just did it because it was the 25th anniversary, but that really does make sense because he did it every single year after that, sometimes twice a year. So, Madness Man 1, he strikes. He kills 7 of the 8. 1 survives, and 1 is never seen again for another 6 years. No one knows why. The only thing I can assume is that he went into hiding. Well, obviously we get that answer 6 years later in the Madness Man 7, but now to the Madness Man 2. So, Madness Man 2, 1 year later, a group of people rented out. These groups, basically every group was pretty dumb, because a lot of when you're in college you don't really pay attention. When you're that high school, college age, you don't really pay attention. You're a rebel and all that stuff. So they learned the history, they just didn't understand that, hey, this history is repeating itself all over again. So they get the house. It's even cheaper than the previous. Because before 2003, 2004, Horrifying Nights, which I now live in because I now do 2 shows, The Darkness and Devilman, which are 2 urban legends. By 2002, there was nearly 13 million people living here. But after 2003, 2004, because of many different things I will get into, the population started to go down. People started moving away. And because you had a cult from 96 to 2006. You had Madness Man, which was only in 92, but people were still feeling it. The Man started killing in 2002. The movie theater, which is a new movie theater, is going to be built, but that was torn down because 3 sets of murders happened in 2000. So there's a lot of murder going on between the mid to late 90s to the early 2000s, and people just started getting tired of it and started moving to the next town over or something like that. So by 2017, the population went below 10 million for the first time since, I think, 1954, I believe, 1950, around there. I think my dog just farted, but it's natural, I guess. My other dog he does that in his sleep. It's hilarious, but my God. So, back to the story. So, the next year, they get the house. Same thing happens. The Madness Man strikes. It's the first time he ever strikes 2 times, or 2 years in a row. In 92, it was just that year. 25 years, never heard from him again. Until 2017, but now 2018 also. Same thing happens, but once again, 1 survivor. And this starts to, by Madness Man 3, it starts to piss him off very badly. And the man would use that and piss Madness even more. Well, so Madness Man 3, so 2 survivors now, not seen again. I can only assume, until I figured out so basically it was every single year for basically 10 years that Madness Man and the Man would basically go and try and one-up each other. So Madness Man 3. Same thing happens. People get it. It gets down even cheaper. Rent at that house when the first group of people moved in was around $800. By the time it got to Madness Man 3, in 3 straight years of this happening, it got to around $650, $675. So it was already going down. It would get down very, very, very low until Nick and them just bought the place just to help this person out, because you have to feel bad for the landlord having to deal with this every single year. So Madness Man 3, the neighborhood is mostly, the campus decided to obviously change all the neighborhoods to not have this problem anymore. So basically most of the people were basically old people or young people that were just didn't pay attention. I guess this group didn't pay attention because it once again happened again. But then something happened. The Man got involved. So the next year, it's the 4th straight year that Madness Man has terrorized the town, and also the 4th straight year that the Man has terrorized the town. Well, the Man comes in. He kills one of the people in the house. Madness Man sees this. He gets very, very pissed off. Because obviously by now, because the Man doesn't play around. He doesn't care. So the Man figures out that Madness Man can't kill everybody. So the Man uses that against Madness. Madness obviously doesn't want to hear that, so they fight. For the very first time, we have 2 killers in this town actually meet and face off. Until the meetings house was bought, until that house that created the meetings house was bought, never has there been, and the Horrifying Nights movie, never has there been 2 characters, or all the characters, all the killers and stalkers, conversing and talking to each other. They were all doing their separate things in different neighborhoods in the town. But that all changed when these 2 people faced off. Well, Madness would win. He would kick his ass and all that stuff. So Madness Man won the first one. So Madness Man 4, which is personally my favorite, and a lot of people that watch the movies and not just the series or something like that, and a lot of fans of the Versus films say that this is the best one, and a lot of that is because this is basically the after effects of Madness Man and the Man 1. So Madness Man 4, new group comes in, but they get cameras, they think of plans and all that stuff. So this group is a lot more smarter, but the plan actually goes against them. And Madness actually kills them all, but once again, can't kill them all. One escapes. And because basically they had this plan that they're going to go around the jacuzzi so Madness can't get them all. Well, 2 were about to escape. 1 died, and he just told him run off. So he did. Never looked back. So now that's 4. Well, now that's 5 straight years, because even in the Man and the Madness Man, there was 2 survivors. One that the Man was trying to kill, and one that the Madness Man was trying to kill. So it's 5 straight years now that Madness Man can't kill everybody. Madness Man 5. Madness is so pissed off that he doesn't even wait that long, and he tries to go kill them all. But this plan that they had, which is just stab him as many times as he can, and all that stuff, worked. And actually, three people survived. But before they would, Madness basically put on the most strength that he had before he became supernatural, and just went off of them. But once again, still, 2 people. 1 person survives. So now that is 6 straight years. He can't kill everybody. 6 straight survivors. Madness Man 6. And this was basically the final Madness film from info that I read, and that's why I say this, that this is basically the last time that Madness would kill in a house, where new people moved in until The Man vs. Madness Man 4 or the series. So Madness Man 6, same thing happens. Can't kill 2 people now. And The Man vs. Madness Man 2, at the end of Madness Man 6, the man makes an appearance at the very end. He kills, at the very beginning of The Man vs. Madness Man 2, he kills one of the survivors, and there's just one left. He tells the one to just run. That way, it's now 8 straight years. He can't kill everybody. Now, obviously, that would change in The Man vs. Madness Man 3. But, so, the man is trying to get his revenge. And that's why this was called The Man vs. Madness Man 2, The Man's Revenge, because in the papers, on the internet, and all that stuff in this town, the man was trying to get his revenge. Well, the man would actually get that. He would get his revenge, and he would beat Madness. Madness limped off, he was bleeding everywhere, and he smiled, took the knife out, and then he walked away. So now the Madness Man 7, final Madness film of this storyline. Because basically there's 2 storylines, well actually 3. The Man vs. Madness Man, the Versus films is its own storyline. The Madness Man films, the original films, are its own storyline. That way, if one of the characters die, start a new story, and there you go. And because in the real city, the man and the Madness Man never died until for Madness 2 years ago, and for the man a year ago. So, but I obviously wanted to expand these stories even more, expand these characters even more, expand these real life killers in these movies even more, So I did it like that. So Madness is beyond pissed because this was basically 8 years in a row he couldn't kill everybody. He killed everybody except 1. It was always 7. Always 7. Except in the Versus films, it was always he would try to kill. In the first one, he tried to kill 10, but only could kill 9. And the Man vs. Madness Man 2, he tried to kill 16, but only killed 15. So always 1 survived. So 8 straight years of this happened. Well, those survivors were actually still alive, and they were all hiding until one survivor, the very first one, actually found every single person, called them back to this house. And basically, he said that he went one by one. And how I got this was actually one of the survivors that still is alive, and that is Nick's buddy, and that is Chris. Chris actually survived even the Man vs. Madness Man 3, 4, and the Madness Man 7. Oh, and 2. So he has survived through many different challenges. And he basically wrote in his book about how basically one by one, his name was Brandon, and basically he went one by one and explained how they survived, where they hid, and all that stuff. But a lot of them were like, no, we're not staying here because of all the bad memories. We lost all of our friends, had to start brand new lives at the age that we were. It was nearly impossible. You couldn't really get the image of madness out of your head. Well, he said, look, you don't think I think that? Of course I think that. But it got me thinking. We all survived madness. We all did. We all survived madness once. Let's try and survive again, but this time, take madness down for good. So they all agreed on this. They all lived in this house. They all made this mega plan to basically take out madness once and for all. And basically, all 8 survivors, each survivor had their own part in this plan. Obviously, the first survivor had the biggest part because he's the one that brought them here. And he basically said that what we're going to do is we're going to use every bit of our plans that we used when we used it that first time, but all these parts together. So the stabbing madness and then just running, the going around the jacuzzi, stabbing him up above the stairs that I'm looking at right now, and then pushing him down the stairs. If you hear that's my dog Asta, he has to get a running start and then run up to the couch. So yeah, if you hear him scratch himself, he for some reason scratches his ear, and then he wonders why he whimpers after he's been scratching it for so long. But and then push madness down the stairs and then get the hell out of there. So each person's plans from that specific time period, they're all going to use. So they did that, and not only did it work, but we had the most survivors we've ever had up to this point, and that was 5. 5 of the 8 survived. But that would all change in the Man vs. the Man 3, which was the Man vs. the Man 3, Evil versus Evil. Madness had been pissed at the Man for making fun of him that he couldn't kill everybody. And then the Man was pissed at Madness because even though he beat him, he didn't kill him. Which, obviously, the Man didn't want that. Because, that's the thing. The Man is a very selfish person. He thinks he's the best, he thinks he's number one, and all that stuff. So when Madness came around, and basically around the same time, almost exactly the same time, they were basically 6 months apart from when they started killing, in terms of every single year. For the Man, it was in March of 2017. For Madness, it was July of 2017. And then when he did his basically 7 each year, basically, that was in November of 2017. So very, very, very close to each other, and the Man did not like that. He obviously saw, because of me and putting these movies based on them out, that he was getting way more viewers than he was. But he just didn't like that there was someone else. And obviously he didn't realize that Shadow the Urban Legend was actually true, and he had been killing way before they were basically alive, or when they were just kids that Shadow was already killing. So the Man is very selfish, and he only thinks basically of himself. So they were both pissed at each other. So, culminated in the biggest fight in all of horrifying Nights, Indiana. Of all the fights that have ever been done between just the person that they're terrorizing or against each other, it had never been this brutal and this big before. Usually when two of the killers would fight, it would be just for bragging rights or something like this. Was to kill each other. So this was beyond bloody. There were no survivors. Of the 5 that did survive that one night, the only one that came out still alive, even though everyone thought that he was dead, and that was Chris. Chris was the only one. So of those 8 original survivors, only one is still alive today. But for a time, everyone in the town thought that all those survivors were dead, because Chris was badly, stabbed and all that stuff, and no one could believe that he was alive. Chris still can't believe that he's still alive. But basically, the man and the man's man met, and they fought. They stabbed, punched, kicked, everything at each other, and this was the end of this basically battle between these two. But the man's man won, which still to this day shocks me, because but in the end it does kind of make sense, because Manus Man couldn't kill everybody, and even when he did, or when he thought that he did, there was still one left, and that was the man. Even though the man wasn't part of his neighborhood or whatever about that, the man still tried to take over his neighborhood, which basically meant that he was part of that neighborhood, basically. Because the man basically was trying to take over each neighborhood by himself. Each neighborhood that had a new killer or stalker or anything like that, he would try to take it over. And the very first one was Madness. So when Madness actually won and he did kill him, it shocked the town. It absolutely shocked the entire town. So Madness won, bloodiest battle in history, the bloodiest movie I've ever created, and Madness Man won. So Madness Man versus the Man 4 was basically just a movie to go into the series, because basically every single series and movie is based off the actual real people in Horrifying Nights, Indiana. Basically this was just Madness Man's I guess celebrating so basically in the span of, and basically this is the only time this has ever happened, so in the span of 4 to 8 months, basically 5 groups moved in. Well, of that 5 groups, only 4 people survived, and Madness Man killed between 40 and 50 people in 4 to 8 months. And of those survivors that led into the series, into the people that you guys are watching today, and that is Nick, Chris, it was Mike before he died, and I'll get into that, and then eventually Doc. But yeah, so of that original group, there were only 4 of the 40 to 50 that actually survived. So they left for a while, but then they came back because town over was way too expensive. Every single town was way too expensive. This house, so they just decided to buy it. They were going to install cameras and all that stuff. So season 1 of the Madness Man series, basically they have moved in, they have bought the house, they retell the history and all that stuff. And Madness Man, they say if Madness comes back, because by that point it was the longest we have ever gone without Madness Man killing, and that was about 1.5 years between, because basically those 11 films were basically 2027. So it was 2017 to 2027, and there have been 6 seasons now. It is once Horrifying Night Season 2 starts, it'll be 2034 officially in this universe. But they make a plan just if Madness Man comes back, because in the back of their mind, obviously he's going to come back, obviously, and he did. They did their plan and it worked. They did one of their old plans, and not only this time, but they stabbed him in an area that stunned him, and he ran off. Some of the roommates that they had died. In Season 2, basically the same thing, another plan. But Season 3 had the biggest shock of all, and that was that Doc is back. Doc had been gone from that neighborhood for about, let's see, by Season 3 that's 2029, 2030, so about 38 years it had been since he last lived in that neighborhood. But over the course of the last 5 years, he had been scoping it out. So he came in, and at first, Nick and everybody were pissed off because if you were scoping out, he could have helped out with the information that he knows and all that stuff. So he explained why. And they're like, whoa, because they didn't realize that he was actually there that night, that he escaped. So he says, I'm here to help you. If you don't want that, then it's cool. I can understand. Just let me help you guys out. So they let him. And obviously for the last 3 years, he has. He really has. So, but Madness Man does not know this. Madness Man doesn't know that Doc is actually back. So in this season finale, which I think this may be my favorite season finale of the series, and that is when he sees him, he is shocked. So he basically runs away because obviously it stuns him that the one person that he connected to the most, he thought Doc passed away from old age. To actually see him again, it actually shocked him. Not in a bad way, in a good way. That, hey, the person that actually cared about me is still alive. Not a lot of people know this, but Madness Man did kill his parents. He did kill his parents once he got out. We don't know exactly when, but obviously it was when he escaped. We don't know if it was that week, that next day, or a few years later, or a few decades later. We don't know, but he did kill his parents. So, fast forward a little bit, and Season 4 comes on. So, Madness Man's about to kill Doc, but he shows him the note of that night when he escaped, and he doesn't kill him. But episode 6 rolls around. Season 4, episode 6. They make a plan to kill Madness once and for all, and it works. They do the unthinkable and kill Madness once and for all. Unbelievable. They kill him, and before he goes, Doc says, I'm sorry, and Madness actually sheds a tear, and then he nods, and then Doc stabs him one more time, and Madness actually dies. And for around a month and a half, 2 months, they were actually Madness Man free. They were free from the Madness Man. Until the season finale. They hear this noise, they think that, oh, maybe it's a dog or something like that. They open the door, and to their shock, it's Madness, alive and well. So, in the next season, Season 5, it is revealed that Madness turned supernatural. They don't know how, but he did. Madness kills Mike, and for that season, they try and find out how and why. Well, in the end of the season, they find this blue liquid. No one knows exactly what it is. No one knows exactly what it does, but they think now in Season 6 they think this blue liquid is what this chemical of some kind, or at least something in the house that he died in, is a thing that turned him supernatural. So they found the blue liquid, and when they showed Madness, he actually got scared, and that led into the Man's Man versus Shadow, because Madness got scared. He took one of Shadow's characters, Shadow's people that he's terrorizing, and killed them. Because now all the killers, wow, this is 40 minutes long. Now all the killers are living together, trying to take over the city one neighborhood at a time. And in that, they have this rule that no killing each other's characters that you guys are terrorizing. Well, Asmund Care killed one, and they fought, and Shadow actually won that. So now this leads into the first TV movie. So sit back and enjoy. This is actually going to go and be a bonus episode, like I did with The Man. So it's going to be a bonus episode. This will be episode 10. So sit back and enjoy. And let's begin the movie.